Silly is such a good show, by the way, the one right before ours. So if you missed it tonight. But hello, welcome. This is a show that's all about glitches. We love glitches in speedruns, and it's all about a showcase to kind of show those off and have people on who have a lot of knowledge about their games so that they can break them down and like do a showcase for you all. So super cool. Tonight we have Kafka14, who's back on with us for the second time. Hello, welcome back. And is doing Doraemon 2, what is it? Nobi in the Temple of Light, I believe is the full title. And then also we get a little bonus game as well of Chameleon Twist, which is very cool. So Kefka, how's it going?
Two very niche hidden gems, if I'm being honest. Well, gem is pretty subjective with this first game, as you all see, but I'm a little biased on this one, I'll admit. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm really excited for that. Also, fun fact, I hosted for Chameleon Twist at this past SGDQ, and that was actually my first time seeing that game. So when you brought it up, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually know this game now. To an extent, of course. So I'm excited to see it like actually get talked about more and broken down. So that'll be really cool. And then I get to learn about Doraemon. So yeah, when we go through this, you all, you can always leave comments in the chat. I'm looking up a chat right now. My little like space station setup. Don't worry about it. And I can, field questions from you as we go along. I'm here to just kind of watch and learn as well. But Kefka's gonna be the one who really like takes it away and gives us all of like the cool info and shows everything off. Like this is your show now, okay? So as we get into it, like you can do a countdown for us, and then like as we start, when we have like a moment during explanations, I just love to hear some of what brought you to these games, especially considering that they're pretty niche. So feel free to take it away and yeah, throw that in there.
All right, so as stated, this is Doraemon 2, Nobi in the Temple of Light. This is the 64 game. It's part of a trilogy of Doraemon games that were all JP exclusive, of course. I came to this game in particular because I noticed it had no leaderboards that I could find anywhere, and I thought that would be a challenge and be interesting. As it turned out, there were actually some previous runs on Nico Video that I ended up finding later, but now there's a fledgling community, and we've found tons of stuff in the past like 3 or 4 years with this game. It's absolutely crazy, some of the stuff I'm going to show you guys today. So let's just get right into it. Yeah. So you'll notice I'm not on file select. That's a little odd, and that's because we're going to start off with a bang by showing you all something really, really cool. So in this game, there's 4 main categories. There's any percent and 100%, of course, but then we also have a distinctive variable called door early or no door early. And what that refers to is this item here in the menu. Now, this is called the anywhere door, and it does exactly what it sounds like. You can collect it towards the end of the game, and it allows you to warp anywhere on the world map, right? There's certain places you can't like warp directly to, like specific houses and things like that, but you can warp to any main location. So,
that's really handy.
Oh, it's super handy. Now, wouldn't it be really cool if you could have this right at the start of a run instead of not getting it until the last like 3 minutes of the whole game? That'd be fantastic, right? Well, turns out you can. If you just get a game over and the last item you looked at in your inventory happens to be that particular item, it kind of keeps it in the game's memory for the next time you enter the item menu. And what we're going to do now is we're going to start a new game. And things are going to get interesting here. Oh, I got to set the rules. There we go. What I'm doing here is I'm setting the difficulty to easy. And now we'll start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. So, this game is very cutscene heavy, unfortunately, and you would think with all the broken glitches we would have ways to skip more of them, but we really don't. A lot of the game's structure is sort of centered around just hitting specific story flags, and you have to hit all of them in order to access the final boss. Otherwise, the game just completely crashes when you try to load it, which is, not good. The opposite of good. So just coming in through here. Just coming in through here, starting off. If you have any questions about the lore or what's happening, feel free to ask. We're not really here for that today, but I don't mind to answer. To give a brief overview on it, though, Nobi and crew from the Doraemon anime have ended up in a mysterious world called Crystaka. And the sort of plot of the game is to get an object called the Crystal of Light back to the Temple of Light and put it within the Pedestal of Light, which will save the world and yada, yada, yada. What we're doing right now is we're walking around and we're gathering up our friends. We just found Sneech. Here's Big G, the objective fan favorite, I would say. I'm more of a Sue person. But yeah, so what we're going to do here now, and just for full disclosure, because this is a showcase, we are using save states. I'm going to go down to the second menu here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold down the turbo button. Now, you can do this without turbo, which is worth noting, and it's all been tested and verified, but our leaderboard allows turbo to make these particular techniques much easier to do for everybody. And here we go, watch this. All of a sudden, we've used the door in a new file. So we can go wherever we want, which is like, oh, okay, right at the beginning of the game. Well, how about let's go straight to the final dungeon? That sounds like a good time, yeah? So here we are in the final dungeon after starting the game. And the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually collect the door so that we don't have to queue it up anymore. We can just use it whenever. And what we're going to do here is yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So we literally used the door to warp and go get the door, which is pretty fun.
Will it show properly in your inventory now? Because it looked like you were clicking on a different item, right?
Yep, it will show in the inventory now. Now, we don't all, in the run, you can actually skip coming here first to get the door, but since this is a showcase, I wanted to just have it for safety.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and get back to the actual game at large for a moment here and get a couple more story things out of the way while we sort of prep for the absolute insanity that is to come.
Okay.
Ooh, I just realized. We have to go to Chameleon.
So you can already go everywhere, even though you...
Yeah, we can already warp everywhere. Anywhere we want.
Okay, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. It completely, fundamentally breaks the game, which is...
I love that. It kind of reminds me of the early Furnace Fun, the Banjo-Kazooie thing where you can like get all your moves in advance.
It's very similar, which is why we've made it a separate category as well.
Nice.
But it does cut a significant amount of time off the game, like 12, 13 minutes, something like that.
Oh wow! And what's the 80% world record right now for this?
43:07.
Okay, so that's a huge chunk of time.
We're just gonna press B actually, and what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do what's called a wrong warp. There it is. So basically, if you mash through the door menu, what happens is the game can't understand where it is you're trying to warp to. So it just automatically sort of tries to default you to another place that's in a similar place within the code. What we did there is you normally can't warp to this part of Crystal Forest, which is the prologue. I went to a specific room that has that value and used it to warp back to the beginning of the game. So we went and we took care of a few preliminary things. And then we're just, we're just warping places we can't even warp to. It's good stuff.
Cool. So the setup when you did the first warp before you collected the door, is there anything special about that we should know, or like how you think you have to do for it?
So what you need to do is you need to have a previous file that has the door in your inventory. You have to hover over the door in the inventory and then die. After you die, select no, that you don't want to continue your game. And then you can start a new game. And basically, the next time you go into your inventory, there is a single frame. Yes, a single frame where the door is still the last highlighted object.
Oh, it's only a frame.
File. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And we have done this without turbo as well. It's worth noting. The very first run done of this category was done by me without turbo, but the community decided at one point, because there's a lot of text in the game and these particular techniques become a lot easier with turbo, we allow turbo on our leaderboard, which just improved the quality of life tremendously. So what's going on here is we're grabbing the Crystal of Light. We're getting a few MacGuffins out of the way so we can like really get into the meat and bones of the game. And like I said, the whole thing of this game is just hitting a bunch of story flags, and we can use the glitches to not only hit all the flags, but we can hit them a lot faster and hit them even out of order in a lot of cases. Which
we love that here.
Oh yeah, we love that, absolutely. So now that we're through Crystal Forest, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna come out here and we're gonna unlock the character that we're pretty much gonna be playing as for the rest of the run. This is Sue. There's no real discernible difference between the characters other than the way they look. There is technically a small hidden modifier in the game's code that makes certain weapons deal a little bit more damage with specific characters, but on easy mode, it's completely arbitrary and doesn't matter. Everything dies so fast that it's...
On, like, different modes, it makes more of a difference, would you say?
It makes a little bit more of a difference on normal mode. There's not a hard mode in the game, which is...
Okay.
Which is, pretty funny. Oops.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go to the second dungeon, and we're just going to go ahead and beat it. Ooh. So what happened there is we had something called Dungeon State active.
Whoa.
And it's because we wrong warped out of the previous dungeon. Normally we skip having to deal with that in a speedrun of the game. But
wait. Was that intended, the jump?
Well, yes. Yes, that actually is the intended way of dealing with that. But I wanted to show off. I wanted to show off that there's kind of two states in this game. There's overworld state and there's dungeon state. And if you wrong warp, you're not supposed to be able to use the door inside of dungeons. That's worth noting. So anytime you see me do that, that would technically be a frame perfect trick.
Oh wow, okay.
And if you warp out of a dungeon, the game doesn't revert back to overworld state. And what that does is it causes every other dungeon in the game to just like lose a bunch of collision randomly. It's not useful in the speedrun, but it is weird.
And that's why it seemed like there were no like walls and floor.
Correct. That's why when we came here, there was just nothing. So normally what we're supposed to do here is go across the way over there to fetch a key. And we have to push this block here all the way over there to climb up and so on and so forth. But you'll notice that I'm just going straight here. Now, the reason I am is because we grabbed a key in the third dungeon earlier, which happens to work on this door, which is moderately fascinating, but you can just duplicate that same key over and over, and we are going to duplicate it again a little bit later.
So a key from a dungeon will work on basically any dungeon?
It would work in any dungeon for the floor that you're on. So like a key from floor 1 of any dungeon will work on a door that's on the first floor of any dungeon.
A different dungeon
that makes
sense. Okay,
yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they're floor specific.
Okay.
So the very first thing we're doing at the start of this here is we're doing the second dungeon. Now the second dungeon is probably my favorite, and I would say it's the community favorite as well. It's also the hardest. It has the most time to lose, so we like to get it out of the way quickly, but on top of that, we don't really need any additional items or objects really to just come in here and pretty much full clear it on our first visit.
Nice.
So yeah.
So it makes it really consistent, like it flows well.
Yeah, exactly.
For speedrunning purposes.
Yeah, so you do the prologue, you go bum rush the second dungeon. Normally you're not doing this till like 40 minutes into the regular any % run. But in the door early category, you're doing it like 4 minutes into the run.
Those are antagonists right there?
Those are our antagonists, yes. Normally we would see them before this in a story scene to introduce who they are. Their names are Mina and Pune. They're kind of like Jesse and James from Pokemon. Okay. If I had to compare them to anything,
I love that.
Yeah, normally we would have seen them sooner than this for them to, hop down and say, "Oh, we're the bad guys" and all that good stuff. But yeah, we're a little out of sequence here. just a touch. But this right here has some of the hardest platforming in the game. We'll see how I do. Oh, that was lovely. Cool.
Nice.
There's not really too much to show off in this dungeon other than really one thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to beat the boss of this dungeon with my eyes shut.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not even going to look at the thing.
Okay.
Keep falling in the water. There we go. So
the drowning animation is honestly like that's traumatizing.
it's very traumatizing. I agree.
Oh no.
So here we are at the boss of the second dungeon, and therefore we've essentially beaten it. And it's a pretty... Oh, the camera's terrible in this game, by the way. I saw someone in chat say that the camera's wild. Yeah, it's awful.
Whoa. Like a giant head.
So I'm going to shut my eyes. I'll literally look away. Yep, there we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, there we go. It's dead. Okay. So, very easy, boss. You can just spam the grenade to win. If you have the gun weapon, you can just spam the gun as well.
I love that. It's like to the point of it, like it got rid of the that water texture, like disappeared for a little bit.
Oh yeah, we're out of sequence. Everything is looking very, very weird.
Yeah.
So what we're gathering here is there's only 3 dungeons in the game, and we're getting we have to come into them to get 3 crystals. Your basic Zelda sort of gameplay loop, right? And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna warp to a place called Aberk Village. Now, Aberk Village, it's the first village in the game. It's kind of like the Zora Village, almost. And the reason we're coming here is because of this. We're going ahead and we're advancing a few story flags. Yeah, right. It's like, this is what I like to call, we have Zoras at home. You know, like...
Yes.
So what's happening here, though, is we can't understand a word they're saying, so our character's like, hey, we don't understand them. So we got to find a way to, like, speak their language. We're going to get that very quickly, but still, that's what's going on here. But before we do that, we do have one item we have to get in this area here. And it is right over here. We'll need this to beat the game. This is the invisible paint.
Invisible paint. Interesting.
Invisible paint. So when we come into this area here, we're going to get a cutscene where the game zooms out and it shows us this whole area. And it's just like, look at this place. And we have a song we sing in the Doraemon community called the Look at This Something song. I'll sing it the next time we get one of these cutscenes. And it'll be I promise it'll be 110% cringe. I promise. It'll be
you all get ready. I'm excited.
So,
we're talking to the definitely not Zora people.
The definitely not Zora people. So we come in here, we talk to Chief Zora, and then we hear something fall on the roof, which turns out to be something called the translation gummy, which is the item that just translates every text in the game, so now we can understand them. He explains to us that there was a mysterious blue figure that has fallen nearby in Emerald Lake. So we're gonna go investigate that. Spoiler alert, it's our last party member. It's Doraemon himself.
Nice.
We're not gonna be playing as him at any point unless someone wants to. I don't mind.
All right, chat. You heard it here. If you want him to play as Doraemon. So with you got through the text really, really fast. Is that with the help of Turbo as well?
That is Turbo as well, yes.
Oh.
Now, the text in this game can be dismissed as fast as you can push the A button to dismiss it.
I love that. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so if you have Turbo, it just goes, it just like flies by.
How does everybody have intense echoes in their voice?
I don't know. It's worth noting, though, that the voices in this game are reprised by their original voice actors in the Doraemon anime, which is kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of cool, but it's not mixed the best. I agree.
Yeah, they're all just echoing. This fits perfectly with Awfully Silly, by the way. Good.
So, now that we have Doraemon in our team, we're gonna go beat the first dungeon.
Sure.
Oh, wait. I just remembered. We forgot something. Also, you'll notice I walked out into nothing there. There was just nothing in the air, which is pretty fun. The reason for that is that dungeon's technically not enterable yet. It's supposed to come up out of the water and create like an island. But since we can just warp straight to it, it's kind of moot.
Gotcha.
There we go. So what I did there is I grabbed that same key that we grabbed earlier. I just grabbed it again. Because we used it. Yep.
Dungeon.
Yep. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to equip a weapon that we like to just call the gun. So, that's certainly a scene, right?
Wow, what a world we live in.
Right. So the object of this room here is to hit this switch, and once you hit this switch, it'll open this door up there, and you'll have a little time limit to get to it. I'm going to go ahead and give a motion sickness warning, though, because there's a pretty interesting glitch you can do with this particular switch. What you can do is you can stand back, line yourself up with it, and shoot the switch. And as you do, go into first-person mode, and if you do, the game kind of gets stuck in first-person mode. And like I said, motion sickness warning. It looks really, really weird. It doesn't do anything at all, but it's certainly strange. Like, the game just goes pretty... The game really doesn't like it. So yeah, we'll just reload that, and we'll actually, continue.
Okay. So we're not using it.
Oh, no. It's not useful at all, but it's neat.
We do have a request in chat to use every character at least once.
We can do that.
Okay.
We can definitely do that.
This is such a sight to see right now.
So coming into this room here, there is a switch on the wall over there that we need to hit, and it raises some platforms that allows us to jump across. There's a text trigger where your characters say, hey, how do we get across? Oh, look, there's a button over there. You can actually completely bypass doing that entirely by just doing this, like so. If you just don't go far forward enough to hit the trigger, you skip it, which saves like 3 seconds or something.
That's cool.
And we're about to skip another thing. Right here, there's like a trap door on the ground. And the way you're normally supposed to go across this is you have to grab this watch item over here and use it. And it essentially makes everything in the overworld freeze in place. But this one, they just didn't really make big enough so you can just jump over it. So it's like, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, you can just full clear it. No glitching necessary. So,
love that.
Unfortunately, we have to go get a key now, and I'm gonna ramble for a second about it because me and another runner spent about 10 hours one day trying to find a way to skip getting this key, and there just isn't. It's the only floor 2 key that we ever end up needing for anything, and
gotcha.
We're stuck having to get it. It's very unfortunate.
Why is it the only floor 2 key you'll need? Do you only use floor 1 for the other dungeons?
In this category, it's the only floor 2 key we need. We'll get into that here in just a moment.
Okay.
So coming into this room here, there's a mini boss that is going to be a little more relevant in a bit. But first, we're going to wrong warp out of this dungeon. Straight from this room. Now, why will we do that? We're at the end of the dungeon. This is the mini boss, and then the next room is the boss. Why will we just leave the dungeon after coming this far in? There's a very specific reason. And it's a pretty cool reason. It was one of the more major discoveries in the game in the past while.
Okay.
So, what we're going to do here is we're going to go down to our menu and select the door. I forgot to actually wrong work. That's okay. That's why we have save states today.
Oh, that's right.
So if you just hold through the door menu, like so, we wrong warp to somewhere that we're falling out of bounds. Oh, look, we're in the final room of the 3rd dungeon. Well, that's cool.
Okay.
So, Oh, yeah, these enemies here are completely RNG as to where they decide to move, so not a lot I can do about that. But just to show you something weird, if you look on this pillar over there, there's one of them just floating over there, staring at us ominously. Which I've always just found that strange. That's all. Now, what we grabbed there, that's called the air tube. It allows us to breathe underwater. And what we grabbed there is called the upgrade gas, which gives us increased attack power, which we'll be using on the final boss much later. But what we're going to do for now is we're going to equip the grenade weapon, and we're going to go fight the boss of the 3rd dungeon. A boss that the community has collectively dubbed Ball Man. It'll make a lot of sense why we call this guy Ball Man here in a second.
Okay.
It'll make a lot of sense.
You've already had Giant Head Man. Oh, Ball Man. Okay, sure.
Yeah, Ball Man.
Got it.
He's a big ball man. So Ball Man has 3 phases. On the first phase, he just runs towards you, and then he discombobulates for some reason. Phase 2, he just bounces around like a maniac. I might try to throw some grenades, get some pop shots, but ultimately, phase 3 is when we can execute a quick kill and just kind of finish him off. And that's kind of what we're waiting on. And it's about time for phase 3 to start. So then we run back towards the middle. You'll notice all the balls will pull together right in the center, more or less.
Sure.
Oh, no, it sucked me in. That's not good. Okay, we're good.
I can only have 1 heart.
Oh, no, we're fine.
Oh, okay.
I have to equip the gun. That's okay. There we go. So that's Ball Man, and that's Dungeon 3. And for those of you who are like, wait a minute, we didn't even really do Dungeon 3. No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. We wrong warped straight to the end of it, which saves like 4 minutes of just random dungeon traversal, which is great.
Right.
Oh, there's Dungeon 3, and we're moving on. Now, this next part should be pretty obvious what we're about to do. Actually, you know what? I'm going to rest, just for safety. I need to keep up with what day it is.
Okay.
On the, I'll explain what I mean by that here in a second. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and go beat the first dungeon. Unfortunately, that does also mean walking our way back through a mostly complete dungeon, which is a little bit of a drag, but this dungeon is so short that you end up saving time over, like, it's quicker to do most of this dungeon twice than it is to do the third dungeon once.
To do third dungeon, yeah. But we still hop in third dungeon several times to get keys.
Oh yeah, we still hop in there a few times to grab keys and that sort of thing. There are technically other reasons to be there as well in the 100% categories, but we're not doing that today.
Gotcha.
Where is this? I feel like it's right here. Yeah, it was. Cool. The off-screen grenade snipe on the Switch. Yeah.
Whoa, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a fun little trick. It only saves like 3 seconds if you do it quickly, unlike what I did where I was talking and just forgot and had to walk back. But, you know. So what we're getting ready to do up here is the bosses in this dungeon are unique in that they can be skipped. Quite literally.
Oh, fun.
Completely skipped. One of them
we just have to run to the end again.
We just have to run to the end again. And then skip them. The first boss of the two is a mini boss. We call them the gravestones, tombstones. Looks like two little tombstone enemies with like spears and swords. We are going to make a save state before we go in, though. Just to be safe. So all you have to do here is just run straight forward and then to the left. Like so.
What?
That was nice.
Do they hit you through the door?
Yeah, they just hit you straight through the door. Normally you have to beat them to unlock the door, but that was discovered earlier this year, and it was like, oh, cool. You can just stand there. They'll just whack you and send you right through, which is it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Some out of bounds, you know. There's got to be a few of those.
I love that. You're just getting pushed through a door. Classic speedrun trick.
So this is the first boss of the game, even though we're fighting it like 5th or something. I don't know. And this boss is kind of weird. All it is it's kind of just like a barrier thing that you have to blow up. And in order to do that, we have to get to it by hitting a few switches to create a bridge in a specific order.
Okay.
But you can skip this boss entirely. Now I'm going to make a save state near here so I can show you all what the boss normally looks like. So as soon as we cross this bridge, we'll get a text trigger. The boss appears. We throw a couple grenades at it, and we win, right? But you can also just jump around the trigger and skip the boss entirely. Which
what?
Yeah, which you know saves time and is really cool.
They're like, why would they ever do anything but walk forward?
So now we've beaten the first dungeon, and we're going back to Aberg Village to actually do the story of the game.
Amazing.
Riveting stuff. So this is Kaoru
Amazing.
here, and Kaoru basically is explaining, hey, you're trapped in a weird world with no food. We should probably go get some food. So we're going to do that now. And the cool thing about this is normally you have to just go back and forth between areas, but since we have the Anywhere door, we can just warp straight to where we need to go, pretty much. So here we are, Emerald Lake, and we're working our way towards where we get the food that we never use.
What are you supposed to use it for?
Nothing. You just have to have it in your inventory for the game to advance. And there it is. We have it in our inventory. You just run up to those trees. It's like, yay, we have an apple. Just to show you guys, right there it is. In the inventory, it just does nothing. It's a paperweight.
We're in a foreign land. We need food, and then you never use it?
Oh, we need food. Let's get a single fruit for 6 people and then never eat it. Like.
And even in the regular casual playthrough, it's never used. So good.
So this character here is canonically named God, which is interesting. This is basically like the creator of like this particular world that we're in, and they explained to us some of the lore I explained earlier, where we have to, take the Crystal of Light back to the Temple of Light, and so on and so forth. Longest text box, like, sequence in the game, pretty much right there.
Gotcha. I love their design.
Oh, it's
good.
wonderful. They have a different design at the main end of the game. They get buff real fast. It's really strange looking.
Okay.
It's very like Uncanny Valley looking, in my opinion. But
okay.
I'll let you all be the judge.
Okay.
So here's where we actually meet the villains. We're back at the beginning of the game. We've already finished every dungeon, but we still have to do all the story triggers to beat the game.
Wait,
don't worry.
how many dungeons are there? I thought
Just
we've
3.
only done a couple. Oh,
Just
that's
3.
it?
That's it.
Oh.
That's
wow,
it.
okay.
Yeah. And to keep in mind, though, like, normally you don't hit the first dungeon until about 20-some minutes into the regular any percent run. So, like, we're less than 20 minutes in, essentially, right now. We've already done all 3 dungeons, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
And don't worry, we're going to be showing a few more weird, glitchy, strange things as we get to them. So, after they do that, we use this watch that we just picked up, which freezes time. And here we have to sleep in order to advance the story flag. Normally I would sleep here twice during an actual run, but since I slept once earlier, I'm only going to sleep once. Now, the reason for that, and I'm going to pause while I talk so the time doesn't pass. This game, kind of like Majora's Mask, has a in-game clock. It has like a day and night cycle and stuff, right? And on the top right corner of the screen, you'll notice a sort of logo that's been changing. On the first day, it was like a sun. For a little bit, it was a rock or a fire or something. Now, if you look, it's going to be water. It shouldn't be water. It should be a tree. So, my bad. We are going to sleep one more time.
I see. Okay.
So, basically, there's 7 days in a week, and each of the 7 days has a different sort of overworld function, if you will. And the overworld function of Tree Day is very important. We can't beat the game without it, in fact. I'll explain Tree Day, right? I'll explain what that function is when we get to it.
Okay.
But just know that it's very relevant. We need it to be Tree Day.
I love Tree Day.
So here, the villains have stolen a precious gem from Aberk Village, and they want us to not take it back for them. We're going to take it back for them, obviously. It's also a required object to beat the game. A lot of the routing we've done in this game over the last 6 months or so, as this sort of whole get the door early situation arose, has been figuring out which triggers we can skip and which things we can't skip, because we didn't really have the ability to skip any of them prior to that. And what we have to do here is we have to use the invisible paint that we picked up earlier. Turns us invisible, and we collect the crystal, and that's it. That's the only function of the invisible paint, which... You're
invisible. You didn't even fully go invisible yet.
Oh, no, yeah, yep. And that's the whole thing. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to go into this house. And we're going to get a cutscene where we meet a guy I like to call the Professor. Now, normally, the way this game is structured is when you meet this guy, it means you're about to go to a dungeon. And he explains, hey, there's a nearby place I want to research, and here's how you get into it. And that whole thing, right? Well, that's what he wants us to do now, but, you know, we've kind of already done all the dungeons. So, you know, all we have to do is open the dungeon. Now, it's like, well, if we've already done the dungeon, why do we need to open it? Unfortunately, it's a
story flag.
Yeah. It's a story flag, yep.
Of course.
So what we're doing now is we're opening the first dungeon that we've already beaten. Which is, you know, that's fun.
Okay, so most of the rest of this is just overworld stuff. Or, yeah.
Yep, the whole rest of the game is overworld stuff, basically. There will be some times where I go into houses and stuff, and like I said, there's definitely a few more really wild things I'm going to be showing off. But yeah, that's basically it. Like, we do the dungeons, we grind the story flags,
nice,
and we get to the final boss. And what we're doing here is, in order to open the first dungeon, you have to touch 4 pedestals in Emerald Lake. The order doesn't matter, so I'm just doing them in the fastest order that we can get to them. And on the way, we're also going to grab this item here, which is a required item. This is the paper boat, which is what allows us to get to the first dungeon normally, except for, you know, we don't technically need it, but
you've done it.
But we do need it. It's unfortunate. So then we get a nice little clock. Tells us, oh no, we only have 30 seconds to reach the 4th tablet. And it's like, oh man, are we ever going to get there in time? But the timer is super, super generous. We're going to get there with like plenty of time. And now, the community song. Here we go.
Here we go.
All right, hold on. Here we go. Look at this dungeon. Look at this dungeon. Look at this dungeon. And yeah, we all do that anytime we get one of these cutscenes, because it's like the game is just forcing you to look at something. It's like, look at this thing. Look at this thing.
Oh,
I don't know.
Man.
I find it funny. So yeah, the first dungeon is now open. If you remember earlier, we exited the first dungeon and we were just like standing on the water.
Oh, on the water.
Above that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually just like the first, you know, that's what it's supposed to look like. And what's interesting is when you beat the dungeon, your characters automatically exit it and you get a story flag where, you know, there's some text boxes. It's like, oh, we did it. Because we've already did it, we're going to get that text flag as we approach the dungeon. Which creates a really fun thing. It's like, man, it's like, oh, it opened. Will we ever beat it? And it's like, oh, well, we beat it. Good job. Go home, guys. And that's like the end of it. Like, they're just like, oh, well, we did it. I love it, dude.
Awesome.
So here we are in Sapphire Falls all of a sudden. And this is why we need it to be Tree Day. You'll see there's some mushrooms on screen. And on Tree Day, those mushrooms are tall enough to allow us to platform up to the next area. That's the only function of Tree Day. Now we don't technically need it to be Tree Day in this category, but it's actually slightly faster to have it be a Tree Day because we need to sleep later to do some stuff too.
Okay.
So here they're mocking us because we can't get to them, except for we can get to them.
We can. Because it's already Tree Day.
Because it's already Tree Day.
Wow. Look at these graphics.
And we're getting ready to get to some much more interesting sort of things.
Okay.
In the run. So here's one of the few story flags you can skip. As we approach the next village, which is where we're at now, our characters notice one of the villagers standing outside, and they're like, hey, you know, what is going on here exactly? Turns out this villager has dropped a pendant into the water, and they need help getting it. Normally, we're supposed to help them get it, and then they let us pass and enter the village. It turns out this flag is just completely optional.
Okay.
Which is, you know, somewhat fascinating. And we can just Move right on past it. And
We're
go ahead and
here.
enter the. Yep, we're here. Enter the second village. Talk to the chief, and then we're gonna go over here into this canyon to activate a hex trigger real quick that we need to activate right there. Then we're gonna come backwards, and we're gonna enter the canyon again, and then we're gonna re-enter the village, and that spawns that particular NPC right there.
Oh.
Which is someone that we need to talk to. Then we're gonna fall down here and hope that this NPC is somewhere cooperative. They are not, of course. Makes sense. This is Tessie. There is a quicker way to talk to Tessie, but Tessie decided to be a little weird today. That's okay.
So we're talking to these villagers, part of your story flags then.
Part of story flags. We talk to this one.
Oh my gosh.
And then we go to sleep to advance the flag again. And we're going to use this item here, which we picked up way at the beginning. I didn't even mention it. It's kind of like a tent in Final Fantasy, if you will. It's called a sleeping capsule. It just lets you sleep anywhere once. It's like a consumable. And it's quicker to just have... Yeah, it's quicker to just use that one there. Now, what's going on here is this particular villager is sick. And they've explained that, hey, my brother, sibling... I'm not sure. It uses the word sibling. It has went somewhere very dangerous.
Okay.
And is going to get like a special herb. Oh yeah, we're already to them. And that was it. And they explain, hey, we really need you to like go get that herb for us. One of us is sick and dying. We're gonna go get it now. Normally, you're supposed to have a key to get into this area. You can look here, it's like a large maze sort of area. And this door opens with a key. Spoiler alert, we don't need a key.
Okay.
We can just glitch right into the wall like that. And we can just run straight to the end of the maze. And then it's like, well, how are we going to get out of the maze, though? We glitched in, but we got to have the key to get out. Except, no, we really don't.
Just use the door.
We can just use the door in this category, yeah. We can just warp and leave, come back down to their house, and be like, yo, here's your herb. And they're like, oh, thanks, man.
Thanks. Oh, you did it.
Yep, that was it.
You're gonna be better now.
Easy peasy. So now we're gonna warp back to this house, and we need to sleep one more time, the whole run, to advance the story flag. But I'm gonna take this opportunity to show off some really weird stuff, if that's okay.
Ooh, yeah, please do.
Oh yeah, some really strange stuff. So, if you recall earlier, I mentioned wrong warping. Now, the way wrong warping works is if you use the door and then mash through the menu fast enough, the game doesn't have time to see where you're at. So it just sends you somewhere that corresponds to like the same place within the code, right? So this house, as it turns out, sends you to this random spot in Sapphire Falls, which is pretty weird on its own. But it gets stranger. This whole situation gets a lot weirder really fast. Because when you start doing this in other houses, like let's say this house, for example, we're just gonna wrong warp again. All of a sudden, hey, where are we?
Oh,
we're
falling.
Yeah, we're falling permanently, forever.
Oh no, it's like a soft lock.
It's a soft lock.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't do the save states right. This is great. So now I got to adapt on the fly for how we're going to figure this out. Let's see here. You know what? I know what to do. We'll just reset.
Perfect.
It's all right. I got a solution. That file's now just gone. We nuked it. Oops.
Wait, according to someone in chat, this game was like glitchless 18 months or so ago?
Yes, this game was completely glitchless. Complete.
Whoa, so this is all found in the last year and a half. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's basically the whole brunt. That's basically the whole brunt of this game, though, is just like the door broke everything. really
everything.
Fast. Everything in the game got ultimately shattered. So just to kind of take y'all on a little tour of other things you've not seen yet, let's go to this first village here. Actually, remember to make a save state this time. Another thing you can do is if you wrong warp just straight out of the village, it sends you here, which is like, where are we? We're in a void with a harpsichord song. This is, according to Google and according to research I've done and other people have done, we're not really sure, is a beta dungeon that's just remaining in the game that has no textures, that just...
Weird.
Yeah, it's just still here, which is really wild. So the whole wrong warp thing really messes with the game, in other words.
Yeah.
Like, it really, really messes with the game. Now, getting back to, like, the actual game itself at large, the final boss, we'll just go ahead and hop straight on over there. The final boss is actually back at the beginning of the game here. If you put these 3 crystals into these pedestals, you'll warp straight to the final boss. And it's pretty interesting because if you can get the 3 crystals super early with the door, right? You can go to the dungeons, beat the bosses, get the crystals, come here and put these crystals in. But if you try to go to the final boss without having all the story flags activated, the game just completely crashes and soft locks. Like it just won't let you do it, like, at all.
Sure.
Which you know, is objectively horrible. But
Right.
let's go actually beat the final boss and get through. In terms
Okay,
of,
here we go.
In terms of story flags, what all y'all missed was a ton of cutscenes, if I'm being real. There is one mildly entertaining one I could do where you're also falling infinitely into a void. Well, rather, you're falling infinitely into a river. But that's really about it. This game is mostly just dungeon rush. Then you just watch. I think like, so the whole run's like 43 minutes long typically. I think it's something like 20 odd minutes of the run is just cutscenes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, which is like, you know, which is just awful. So I'm
That's
sparing
a
you
lot.
all that. And we're just going to go check out the final boss for a minute here. So the final boss in this game is really weird. It's called the Obelisk, and it's what you see on the screen right now. It's just like a tower, essentially.
Interesting. Okay.
It's just a big old tower. I don't know. It makes very little sense, but we wanted to see some other characters as well. Who do we want to see? Anybody have a request?
Somebody earlier said, oh, they want to see Doraemon.
Want to see Doraemon? Sounds good.
Here we go. Happening.
Close. First, one of the villains has to die. The villains actually have some character development throughout the game where Pune, the guy in the back there, he doesn't like doing evil as much as Mina does. And you can, like, watch him slowly get conflicted throughout the game. And they both kind of have a turnaround moment here when Pune sacrifices himself for her, which is, you know, it's kind of neat. There's actually some pretty decent writing in this game, which, for a poor man's Zelda, we'll take it, you know?
We'll take it. Man, a poor man's Zelda. That's so funny.
So here we are at the final boss.
Okay.
We have every weapon in the game. The final boss is separated into a few different phases. Phase 1, you just got to shoot these little islets.
Interesting.
It's pretty simple.
Oh, they have big hitboxes.
Huge hitboxes.
Wow.
So much so that I've almost defeated all of them already. I shot some of them through
From the other side.
actual, yeah, like through the actual boss. There's just 2 more left. This boss used to be a very big kind of choke point for runs, but in the past 4 months we've completely solved it, which is great.
Okay, so that was phase 1.
That's phase 1, and now we're on to phase 2. And what we're gonna do on phase 2 here is we're gonna equip the paint bang grenade, use the upgrade gas, and we're gonna toss some bombs down on it.
Great Eye of Sauron.
Like so.
Oh.
Yep. Then we're gonna equip the punching gloves, and then we're on to phase 3, the final phase,
Punch it, punch it.
which is already over. That's it. That's the whole boss. That's the whole game. That would be where you stop your timer, technically, in the speedrun itself. Right? Oh, no, we're not quite done. We're going to watch through a little bit of these cutscenes, mostly because I mentioned earlier, we were talking about that little god character, right? And I told you that they got sort of a glow up. I want you to see what that glow up looks like because it's fascinating.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, it is character redemption, yes. She's really sad.
Right
She's
here?
like, oh no, you know, I was terrible and you sacrificed yourself for me, that whole thing. And luckily, you know, this is a kid's game, so there are no real stakes. Not technically.
Oh.
And the little god character comes and kind of remedies the situation. It is a look for
I'm excited
sure.
to see.
He goes from like cute household pet to Dragon Ball Z villain really fast. Like it's pretty crazy. So right now he still looks like, you know, cute little like creature, right? You know, he comes waltzing in. Yeah, he's still
here he comes.
He's kind of he's kind of like a platypus with like a tiny bill.
Yeah. Okay.
Wonderful stuff.
Thanks, buddy.
By the way, we are intentionally getting through the credits so I can get into the post-game state, where I can show off a few other things as well. Yes, just to reiterate.
Oh. There's no skipping scenes because it's older games.
Yep, no skipping scenes. Actually, you can skip the very first cutscene in the game by pressing start, and that's it.
Oh wow, okay.
Yep. So here we go. Take a look at this dude. He is about to pop up on the right side of the screen. like what?
Whoa!
Yeah, he gets swole, man. He's buffed out. Like, it's wild looking.
What on earth?
It's strange. Very strange.
Pokemon combination of some kind.
That's what it looks like, yeah. Like a very cursed one, too.
Yeah. Oh, no. What are we putting in this pedestal here?
That's the Crystal of Light that we grabbed way back at the beginning of the game. Yeah. So... That basically we're returning the Triforce to the Sacred Realm is the way to think of it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So many Zelda references.
It's funny because of the Doraemon trilogy, this is the only one of the three that's like that. The first one's more like almost like a Mario 64-esque kind of situation with a little bit of item MacGuffin stuff going on. The third Doraemon game is more like Bomberman Hero. Just like level by level by level. And then this one's just like an open world story heavy kind of adventure. Very unusual. They're all three very different games. Very cool speed games too, all three of them. Even this one now. This one used to be objectively the worst of the three. But now it's got a lot of door. Yeah, now with the door, anything's possible, man.
Right, seriously.
A lot of crazy stuff in it now.
Cool.
Okay.
I love it.
Luckily, you can skip the credits, which is fascinating.
Okay.
So now that we've skipped the credits, we're going to go back into the game, and we're going to take a look at a couple other of just random oddball things. So after you beat the game defaults you to here, and you're in the sort of post-game state. You can go anywhere you want, naturally. And we are going to go anywhere we want. We are going to go straight to Hotfix Ruins here.
Okay.
Now, this is the third dungeon that we didn't actually get to see because, you know, we skipped most of it. We're actually going to not.
We're going to go back and see some stuff.
Yeah, we're actually going to go back and take a look at a couple things.
Okay. Here we go. Smooth.
So what we're going to do here is something pretty interesting. We're going to run into this room and make a state real quick. We're going to go into this room. And there is a boss here that you normally have to fight. Normally the villains here attack you in this sort of giant frog mech sort of thing, right? And because we didn't actually do it in the playthrough, it's still here, even though the game's beaten, which is fun. And this boss is super easy. You can also beat this boss blindfolded by simply just holding B or mashing B. But we're not going to do that. We're going to warp away, and if you notice, there's now just a bar at the bottom of the screen. That's the health bar for the boss. It's just permanently... it's just burned onto our screen now. It doesn't do anything that we're aware of. What's interesting, though, is we could go back to that boss and repeat this and have a stack of, like... We've gotten it up to, like, 50 or so stacks of just health bars on top of each other.
What? Does it make it, like, brighter, or what does it do?
It just kind of changes colors every time you do that. Like, the first one's green, and then it becomes red, and then eventually it just becomes kind of a wash of stuff after you have enough of them crammed on there.
Weird.
I don't know. Yeah, it's quite strange. So, let's see here. I'm looking through my notes because there's a ton of weird little things in this game. Crashing the game with the text. Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Let me make a state on this. I need to warp to the third dungeon again. This might... Oh, no, notice we have the weird dungeon state thing again. That's fun. So let's see if I can get this. This may take a try or two.
Oh,
he's not there anymore.
Weird.
So never mind, it won't work. Well, normally there's an NPC standing right here. And if you talk to him quick enough after coming out of that dungeon, you get this weird text overflow glitch where the game gives you like well more than 3,000 text boxes in a row, and then the game just crashes. It's strange. It's very, very strange. I can probably accomplish it on another file. Let me take a look.
Yeah, or like try it again or do something. That sounds really fascinating.
Well, yeah, but the NPC just isn't there, so it won't work on that file because we're in a complete game state, so the NPC's position has changed. But I'm pretty sure I have another file that has the NPC on it, I believe. I think this one may work. Yes, this one will definitely work.
Okay.
Ooh, actually, we have a couple other interesting items on this one that I just noticed. Okay. Yeah, so he's just given us this nothing burger sort of a text box because we talked to him before the indicator of the map on the top left corner of the screen disappeared. So the game's just soft locked now. I just can't do anything. We crashed it. It's dead. So yeah,
that's it.
That's it. That's it. And it's different. It's different depending how. Actually, that's not it. Hold on. It depends on whenever you talk to him. Sometimes he'll actually give you an infinite series of text boxes. Other times,
I did see the one.
He just gives you blank. We don't really know what causes it. I've seen a bunch of different results there for just depending on when you talk to him, what items you have in your inventory when you talk to him, and a number of other things. We have some really good items in our inventory here to show off some really funny stuff. So I'm going to do that right now. I forgot that this file existed. I'm really glad it does. So we're at a point in this story where we only have Nobi in our team. What happens in the story is Nobi is sent back to Emerald Lake to fetch a particular item, and we have fetched it already in this file to give you guys an idea of where we are. It's that item there, the time handkerchief. Now, what we can do here is, or what's intended to be done rather, is we need to go to a specific spot on this river and trigger a cutscene. Now, the cutscene's already been triggered, and what it does is it destroys a bridge that is right there. Oh, it hasn't been triggered yet. Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Wonderful. If it was, the bridge would be destroyed. So, here we go. So, normally, you're supposed to approach from the other side of this bridge. The game does not expect you to be over here when you're approaching this cutscene. And as a result, some really funny things can happen. Here's thing one. We're going to enter the cutscene trigger on the bridge itself. Now, you'll notice during the cutscene, it's warped us to the other side. That's pretty standard stuff. It's playing the movie file or whatever.
For now. When it goes back, will we still be on the bridge?
We will, except the bridge won't be there.
Right,
Because the bridge is going to get destroyed in this cutscene. And it creates a pretty funny situation that's completely soft locks your game. All right, here we go. This is the longest cutscene in the game, and unfortunately, we have to watch it twice in order for me to show off everything. I apologize.
Oh, sure. That's okay.
So, yeah, now we're just eternally drowning in this river.
Oh, no. Forever.
Yeah, forever. You can't save it. The game's just done. Yep. So that's what happens if you activate that from the wrong side. However, if you already have the door, it's quicker to access it from this side. But if you can't access it from this side because of that, what are you to do? Well,
right.
A couple months ago, a runner by the name of 7th Armstrong found something that we call bridge skip. Oh, I missed it. That's okay. I just got to get my camera a little more flat. The skip is not easy. There it is. So you can jump around the cutscene trigger and just barely make it over here to trigger it on the correct side. It actually saves like 8 seconds to come and do it that way. The very unfortunate part about it is you get one try. If you walk into the cutscene by accident, your run's over. And you're at this point in the story, you're like 40 minutes into your run, 35 minutes into a 43-minute run.
Yeah.
You know, so puts a
gamble.
Puts a one-try trick right at the end of your speed run. We love those.
Yeah, no. Oh my gosh. Somebody in chat was saying I think about the NPC that could crash your game. It seems like it could be potential for like an Ace style.
Yep. We've looked into it a little bit, but as you can imagine, the resources for this game aren't exactly as big as like Zelda resources.
Wow.
So what we're going to do here is... wait, excuse me? What did you just say? Oh, there we go. You have to walk in range. My bad. We're going to use the cell phone item, and this next thing I'm going to show is not a glitch at all. It's just the funniest cutscene in the game. So I figured it'd be funny to show off. Now,
oh, good.
It's also really short. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this item here called the Voice Solidifier, and it does exactly what it sounds like it does. It solidifies your voice. Now, for those of you thinking, what the heck does that mean?
Yes.
Just watch and find out.
Okay.
What we're going to do is... Also, we switched to Big G just so we could see Big G for a minute here.
Hey, Big G.
What we're going to do is we're going to head down here, and the goal here is to reunite with Nobi, because the bridge got destroyed. If you look, you can even see him standing on the other side over there waiting for us. And what we have to do here is use the voice solidifier. Now, this is a pretty big meme cutscene in the community for this game. You'll understand why very quickly.
Okay.
Yep. So he just
Makes
screams.
a new bridge.
He just screams, "Wah!" And it solidifies his voice into a bridge, which is like
perfect.
Probably one of the strangest concepts I've seen in a game, maybe ever. It's up there.
Yes.
It's really high on the list of just what is happening kind of territory.
I love that because I know it's not.
Oh yeah, that's intended. That's normally how that goes.
This is actually intended.
So now we have also seen every character because we are playing as Sneak.
I'm so glad we got to see it.
But I'm going to show off one other additional tiny thing that is of interest before we move on. It's very small.
Sure.
Yes, I could technically show off one other thing.
This will be the last thing in Doraemon?
A little bit to get to it. It might not be that worth it.
Okay, I leave that up to you.
Actually, I do have two other things. I was having to think about it for a second. All right, so coming through, we're back on the complete file again, and the reason for that is I want to show you all. There's a house over here that normally you can't get into, and for some reason in the post game you can. Nobody really knows why that's a thing or what it means, but it's this house here. In post game, you can just come in here. Now there's nothing in here, and there's ominous dungeon music for no apparent reason. But yeah, that's thing one.
Weird.
Thing two, which is of a lot more interest in my opinion. We are going to do a very, very complex glitch.
Okay. Walk us through it.
So, this is a completely useless glitch, but it is mildly fascinating. So, if you remember, when we put the crystals on this pedestal, the game takes us to the final boss. Now, in this file, though, we haven't advanced the story flag. So, if I was to put all 3 crystals here right now, the game would surely soft lock. It would definitely soft lock, to be clear. What we're going to do is we're going to put 2 of the crystals. And this may take a try or 2. I'm going to make a safe state right here.
Okay.
Missed it. Missed it again. Come on. Close. There it is. So, what I've done here is I've placed the crystal, and I've paused frame perfectly. And this is going to allow me to warp away before the cutscene even starts, which bypasses the soft lock, right? So now the portal for the final boss is just there, even though it shouldn't be. So you're asking yourself, what does this mean, right? Let's find out. Let's hop into the portal and go see, shall we?
Okay.
So normally this cutscene can't even be activated if you put the crystals in the pedestal early, but you can frame perfectly allow yourself to get here, which is cool. But what can we do with it? Unfortunately, nothing in terms of actually beating the game, which stinks.
Okay.
The game would be like less than 20 minutes if you could.
Yeah.
But what we can do that I find particularly fascinating is this area still loads and stuff, but it loads in a very odd way. So we get the normal cutscene where it zooms out, shows us the final boss. You know, it's like, here's the obelisk, you know, big spooky boss, whatever. Then it takes us to the character select screen, and normally it's supposed to play a cutscene after this, if you recall, where one of the villains gets shot. Except it just doesn't play. It just doesn't play. And we're just in the boss fight, but we can't do anything. We're just stuck down here. And it's just there. There's this ominous glowing sort of radiating kind of sound happening. And it's just like, well, cool. That's it.
Okay, here we are.
Yep, here we are. We made it. And there's nothing we can do about it at all.
Great. So it's like so close to beating the boss early.
It's so close. And it's just the story flags. The story flag doesn't know to advance to show the next scene, which would, if you look at the top of the screen, there's like these little gray things floating up there. Those are like platforms that you have to jump on to fight the boss. They won't even come down for this. Like, and we can't, you can equip weapons, but we can't reach the actual, like, interactables, which are those little, you know, islets on the boss itself. Also, for some reason, the sounds get disabled for all the weapons in here. It's just like a weird fake final boss room almost. I don't know. So yeah, that's Doraemon 2 though. That's
awesome.
That's basically everything I got. No, that is everything I have to show off. And what's really crazy to me is basically everything I've shown you has been found in the last like 5 or 6 months.
Oh, in the last 6 months, not even the last 18. That's really, really cool.
And keep in mind too, I've been running this game since like early 2021, late 2020. So like all of this coming out all at once, just out of nowhere, it was just like a bombshell. Like
that revolutionized the run. That's super cool.
It completely changed it forever. And it's been really cool to see because, you know, it's a small community. And by the way, shout outs to the Doraemon 2 community. To Nanyai, to PD, to He Ate My Baby. Interesting name, right?
Yeah.
Shout outs to Seventh Armstrong. because, I mean, we've all done fantastic work on this game in the last, especially the last 6 months, but, you know, even over the 10 or 12 year history that this game has as a speed game, you know, it's really cool to see games like this get attention and get really cool glitches and tech. And someone mentioned in chat earlier about, like, potentially finding some Ace stuff. Man, I would love it if people would jump into the Doraemon Discord and just, like, find some cool stuff. Like, people more than welcome. More than welcome.
At the end of the show, like, when you do of course, we'll, like, do your plugs. You can shout yourself out. But, like, talk about the Discord and tell people where they can find that. I'm sure they can go to speedrun.com, but, okay, cool. So, don't go anywhere, you all, unless you want to get water, take a break, but then come back because we actually have another game to show off this evening. Kefka is also going to take us into some Chameleon Twist, which again was featured at this past SGDQ. It is an interesting game. Definitely looks actually like a chameleon. It doesn't. Spoiler alert. But I'm excited to see what this game has to offer in terms of like glitch stuff here. Doraemon was great, and right before we go on break, I just want to remind you all that we do actually have an official GDQ Discord. So you can jump in there, add the Hotfix role, and keep tabs on like upcoming events. You can talk with showrunners and all that stuff. So exclamation Discord for that. If you missed any of our shows or events like SGDQ and you're like, after this, you're like, I want to go see that Chameleon Twist run, you can do that just on our VODs channel, on our VODs on the YouTube channel. So you can go to youtube.com/gamesdonequick or learn more about our weekly shows and weekend specials that we do. So gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. There's a lot of info out there for you all to check out. And I have more that I'll share, but let's take a break first. And we'll be back in a few minutes with some Chameleon Twist. All right, everyone, we are back with some more Out of Bounds. Hello, if you're just joining us, I am Kungfufruitcup, and tonight, Kefka14 is here, who just showed off the glitches in Doraemon 2 and how wildly broken it's gotten in the last 6 months to 18 months. It's awesome. If you missed that, go check it out. We'll be replaying the show before ours and the show at the end of this. Also, or coming up now, Kefka also has Chameleon Twist. So we're going to see the glitches in that. So, hi, Kefka. We're back. And I'm excited to... I've seen some of the glitches in this again from SGDQ, like going through doors a lot of the time. And I'm curious to learn a little bit more about like how that works and the other glitches involved in the game. So whenever you're ready, take it away.
Yep. So this Chameleon Twist, first to just gush a tiny bit. This was my first speed game. I've been running this game. I haven't really ran it actively in about a year, but I ran it started in late 2012. With this game, so long time. Holds a very special place in my heart in terms of speed games. I've seen this game go from, you know, only having 3 runners, like ever, to having, you know, like 80 plus people on the leaderboard, and it's just like, wow, you know, it's just crazy to see how far it's come. But let's get right into it. We're going on a deep dive, and we're gonna be talking about the glitches, the techniques, and a little bit of the history behind some of it was found, and maybe even a little bit of the speedrun history, if we can get into it. So let's just go ahead and dig right in. So you'll notice right away that we're going to be loading a file. We're not going to be playing on a new game. You'll also notice once we load in, hopefully we're not on a boss. Excuse me.
Oh.
Dare I say, that's never happened before.
That's never happened before. No way.
Yeah, I've never seen the game crash on just loading a file. That's
interesting.
That's a new one. That's a very new one. Let's just try to load a different file. Let's go with this one. There we go. Okay. So this is Chameleon Twist. We're starting off here in the last level. It doesn't really matter where we start. We're immediately, you can see we're a pink chameleon. Her name is Linda. Everybody say hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
So there's no difference between the characters at all. They all play exactly the same. There is one minor functionality difference with another character that's in the Japanese version. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, though. Now, Linda here can do quite a few different things in terms of movements. We can vault off of our tongue. We can do what we call a neutral vault, which is where you vault without actually moving. We can staccato tongue and do this to grab enemies and such. Let's find some enemies, see if we can grab them and shoot them back out. It's fun stuff. It's a very addictive sort of game. The mechanics are very simple, intuitive, but unique and fun. Now, you'll also notice on the bottom left corner of the screen, there is a little 1. Now, I'm going to press a button on my controller, and it's going to change into a 2. And the reason for this is we are on the practice ROM. Yes, you heard me correct.
Okay.
The Chameleon Twist community has their own practice ROM that is really good.
Awesome.
It was developed by Rain, Ellie, and Nathan in our community. And it's a phenomenal program. And it's completely changed the way people approach running this game, including longtime runners like myself. But let's just go straight into the first level here. Again, we're on a completed file, but it doesn't matter. This game's general layout is very simple. There's 6 levels in the game, technically 7. We'll talk about that later. But there's 6 levels in the game, and we just do, a level at a time. So, it doesn't really matter. We're going to go into our first level here, which is Jungle Land. Now, Jungle Land's pretty interesting. It's not the best thing to look at, I would say. The textures are kind of hideous.
The texture's a little rough. Yeah.
Textures are a little on the rough side, yeah. Now, what's really cool is if we vault into this over here, sometimes it can just launch you straight through and out of bounds. Sometimes. It's a little, oh, there we go. Yeah, you can just go bloop and go straight through that wall, so that's fun. Completely useless.
But that was quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, completely useless, but it's fascinating. You'll notice there we just picked up a heart. Those heal you, which should be obvious. Now, in terms of what the practice ROM is capable of, this is the US version of the practice ROM. The Japanese version is a little bit more fleshed out because that's the version that's used for more of the categories, but it is capable of this, for instance. You'll notice there the game just sort of stalled for a second. Now watch this. I'll press another button and bam, look at that. We have save states on console. Wow.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, dude,
very nice.
Yeah, it's a game changer. Huge game changer. Now,
absolutely.
The big mechanic in Chameleon Twist, you said you watched it, is to just spin around these poles, which I'm sure you've seen before. And a large part of doing good movement in this game is maximizing the distance that you can get while doing them. And what we're going to do now is, true to the name of Out of Bounds, I'm going to show you guys some Out of Bounds. Our very first one here, I'm going to make a save state right here. Our very first one here is going to be right here in this water section. By the way, this water is completely harmless, which is, that's fun. What we're going to do here, though, is we're going to grab this pole and we're going to go whoop. Try to spin into this wall in just the right way. Almost.
Oh, okay.
Almost. Try this pole down.
You're trying to push out of bounds?
Yeah,
through the wall. Oh, nice. Okay.
Pretty much. You'll see it starting to happen here.
Okay.
It's not quite. This Out of Bounds ends up soft locking the game, though. You get stuck in like a permanent falling animation that looks really janky. It's not really working out. That being said, I've never tried to do it on the US version. I've only ever done it on the Japanese version. We'll revisit that later, because I know this next one up here is going to work just fine.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep. So this one here, you'll see this big tree. And there we go. So, yeah, if you just balled into that tree, you soft lock your game. We can't move. Yeah, we can't move. We're done. That's it. Your game is over. You're stuck. That's the end of it. Yeah, we can just reload the save state. We're not stuck, but yeah, and that's what the other Out of Bounds clip did as well. You just spin into the wall just the right way,
and then you're just stuck there.
And then you're just stuck there instead.
Oh,
yeah.
no. Okay.
Yeah, there's not really. I wouldn't say there's no useful Out of Bounds in this game. There's one very useful one coming up here in just a second. You'll notice here, we're just running through the level. Easy peasy. Okay. There's not really much to show off in like some of the larger chunks of the stages. But coming in here, we have a major glitch to show off. A very major glitch. Now, this is the cave section of Jungle Land, or as the community calls it sometimes, just cave. Cave is very infamously neglected in the speedrun for a very specific reason. And the reason, or at least it is nowadays, The reason for that is we can skip this entirely. Now, normally what you have to do is you go through this room and you go through a series of a bunch of other rooms in that direction and, yada yada. And eventually you work your way to the level boss.
Okay.
But the devs, for some reason, now you'll notice we came in this door, right? The devs, for some reason, left.
Oh wait, this is what I keep saying.
Yeah, the devs, for some reason, just left a warp to the boss right through that door. So, like,
That's so
okay,
weird.
cool. Yeah, this is probably the largest time save in the game. It saves well over a minute. Now, that may not seem like what much, but keep in mind, the world record for the game is just a little over 9 minutes. This game's really short.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's
a really big save.
Like a single minute time save in something less than 10 minutes. That's big. But that's Jungle Land. And that's really honestly kind of all there is to show off in Jungle Land in particular. Now, it's going to get a little weirder once we get up here into Antland. We're going to show off some stuff that wasn't shown off during the SGDQ run of the game by Lively.
Okay,
by the
awesome.
way, speaking of Lively, great speedrunner, great runner of Chameleon Twist and Bomberman 64. Wonderful. But anyway, this is Antland. Objectively the worst level in the game, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's just not fun. And you'll notice here there's ants everywhere, hence the name Antland.
Sure.
And we can just sort of clip through a bunch of these, doors, much like we did early on. Oh, that angle is really bizarre, but I got it first try anyway. Okay, cool. We take those. We take those. This room here, complete RNG. Now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get to a very, very specific room to show off some very broken stuff that exists in this game.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, something extremely busted. But it's only busted in one specific category, and that's why we're on the US version at the moment. So, in the US version, there's a thing called actor storage. And now, the object of the game, other than just beat the levels, is there's crowns that you can collect in each level. There's a different amount in each level, but obviously for the 100% speedrun, you gotta collect them all. And anything that moves in the game is considered an actor. So that would... and anything that are just sort of standing. So like these ants, those are actors. The chameleon is an actor. These hearts over here, those are actors, and so on and so forth, right? So what I just did is, you'll notice I came in here and I made a hard save, right? And see, it's on top right. Okay. Keep that in mind. We'll get back to this in a minute. Keep it in mind. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna go to the training room. Now, we're gonna do something completely unrelated for a second. But just keep in mind that I made a save in that one particular room. Remember it for later. Now, training room is home to 5 very unique individual level speedruns. And for a long time, they were pretty vanilla. It was just as fast as you could complete the various tasks within them. Some of them are they're all very short. Like most of them are under 10 seconds long. The records for them are. This one over here, though, is of particular interest. This is training room 5.
Okay.
Now, training room 5, I'm going to complete it once just to show you how it works. It'll take less than like 6 seconds. Basically, you just spin across these poles, yada yada, and we win. Hooray. Right? And, the quicker you do that, better your time is. Pretty obvious stuff. We found a very weird glitch a couple years ago that applies only in the training room for some reason or another. If you start the timer and then sort of grab a pole and then hit restart, you'll notice there that our tongue was still kind of like sticking out.
Okay.
Which is weird. It's like the game remembers the state that you were in terms of
when you restarted, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in terms of like when with your tongue being like stuck out. It's very unusual, but you can do some really crazy stuff with this. Like look at that. We're just randomly floating off to the edge. Now, and what's interesting about this is if you get just the right position. Just the right position, which I believe we were doing it kind of like here-ish. Yeah, you can actually still do pole spins out of this state. And what's really fascinating about that is the record for this particular room is shared 10 ways with like 10, Chameleon twist runners, and it's all the same time. It's 0.40 seconds. Which is
wow.
Which is
Whoa.
insane. Yeah, so if you want like a really short, random world record, it's a fun one. It's a fun one to grind out.
0.04.
0.04. And it involves what we call tongue storage. Only works in training room. It technically also works in training room 4, but there's nothing you can do with it in training room 4. Now, while we're also in training room 4, I'm going to show off, or in training room in general, I'm going to show off something else here that is pretty weird. We'll see how well I can pull this off. A little rusty. What we're going to do is we're going to start the timer here. We're going to grab that flame. Then we're going to come right back down here. And we're going to get the camera to turn. Now, the camera in this game is notoriously awful. It's very, very bad. And what we're going to do here, and this is going to require a save state, is we're going to line up with this grenade on the corner there. Yep, like so. I missed.
Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. Missed again. That's okay. Ah, come on. Where is he?
Maybe to the left a little bit?
Maybe to the left a little bit. Yep, you are correct. It is to the left a little bit. Let's just actually walk to the left. Nope, not quite. Oh, I was just corrected in chat by another Chameleon twist runner. I do need to finish the room first. That's okay.
You need to almost finish room first, it says. Okay.
Almost finish the room. Correct. And the way you finish this room is quite simple, really. You just shoot these grenades, and they blow up, and that's it. And what we need to do is we need to clear all of them other than one.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to defeat the last grenade at the same time that we talk to the rabbit.
Okay. I see.
There we go. I need to get a little closer to the rabbit.
Okay.
Quite. We need the
close.
text. We need the text to appear. There it is. Okay. So the text is now everything's like layered over top of itself. The game doesn't really know where we're at or what's going on. And you'll notice I dismissed one text box of that rabbit. Keep that in mind.
Okay.
What this does is something completely useless but mildly fascinating. Where we'll just go to this file and we'll reload this stage to get to a rabbit. Now this rabbit is going to default start on his second text box because the game has stored the fact that I've cleared a single text box. So now he says, on and on they come, blocking Linda's way. On and on what comes, rabbit? We don't know anymore because the game has randomly just moved us onto the second text box that the rabbit gives us. And then the game crashes. so it completely breaks. Yeah, so it just completely breaks the game to do that, which is a lot of fun. But let's go ahead and get on to actor storage. Let's get onto something actually useful. Something actually fascinating.
What do you mean actually This is all fascinating.
So,
you mean run relevant. Let's do it. Okay.
So, this room, we saved in this room here. As I said, keep that in your brain. So, what we can do here is we're going to grab a couple ants, and then we're going to pause the game and, oops. I meant to say stage quit. There we go. We're going to hit stage quit. And we're going to go to, we're going to go to Ghost Castle, the last level. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to go over here. And we're going to open this door, which opens a billiards minigame.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, the object of billiards is obviously, sink the balls in and win. But you'll notice I have projectiles. My head's big. How do I have projectiles? It's the ants I grabbed just now when I quit out. And now there's no ants in this level. So what's it going to put in my mouth, right? Well, in this instance, you normally can't actually eat these. But in this instance, it has put the billiard balls in our mouth. So it just it just defaults different actors just that correspond with whatever values are in the room you go to. And there are numerous uses for it. First of all, it allows you to do this particular room much faster. But one of the more fascinating uses for it, and we're going to have to actually play through a bit of another level to make that use case a bit more apparent, which is not a huge deal, because it'll be cool to show it off anyway. We're going to go to Bombland. Now, Bombland is my personal favorite level. And there, to be honest, there's a number of really wild things we can do here. And all of a sudden, the whole actor storage thing will make a lot more sense. So you'll notice we made a hard save here as well. What we're going to do is we're going to hit exit, load, and we're going to reload the file that was with all these ants. We're going to grab a bunch of them. Then we're going to hit exit again.
Okay.
We're going to reload the file that we saved in Bombland. So here we are. Hooray. We're going to grab these. Shoot that. Now you'll notice right when I go through this door, my head's going to get really big. Boom. And now all of a sudden we have a ton of projectiles. But what's more fascinating is the projectiles that we have. So we have a missile, because we ate one in the previous room. That makes sense. We have 2 missiles somehow. A 3rd missile, a 4th missile, a heart, another heart, a crown, another crown.
What?
And then a couple of nothings, and then another missile. So you can actually teleport the crowns to you and bypass having to do quite a few puzzles in the game by doing the active storage glitch. It's still not entirely fully understood what all we can do with this, because I mean, clearly we're pointing to a lot of null references and all kinds of stuff like that. But it's pretty wild, and it's worth noting that the reason we're on the US version is exclusive to the US 1.0 version. And yes, I said 1.0. There is a 1.1 version as well, which is pretty rare. It's kind of uncommon. You don't see it very much. But it patched out some glitches, including actor storage randomly, which is kind of funny to think about, that the developers found out back in the 90s that this existed, and we didn't discover it until like 2019. I don't know. I just find that like really, really neat. Like, we didn't know that we couldn't do it in 1.1 because we didn't know we could do it at all in 1.0. But they
right.
And I just find that really fascinating. But at this point, we're going to switch to the Japanese version of the practice ROM, which is where we're going to be spending the rest of our time here. I wanted to be on the US version starting off. And if you want to look at the titles here, in the practice ROMs in my thing here, the US version is called Prac Twist, like US twist with US in it instead of Prac Twist, which, I don't know, cute.
Very silly.
Oh yeah, and this one has a custom title screen. Well, this particular one does. Which yeah, it's pretty cool.
Cute that it was made like that.
Right?
That's really nice.
So we're going to hit new game on this one. It doesn't matter. All the levels come unlocked. Now, there are 2 additional chameleons in the Japanese version that were exclusive to this version. I can see why they probably weren't in the US version. But anyway, the chameleons you have in this game, you have Davy, blue, Jack, green, Fred, orange, which is kind of the community favorite, Linda, black, which unfortunately black is normally not playable in story mode at all, but on the practice ROM, we enabled it. So you can just play as whoever you want because it's the practice ROM. And then white, who normally is playable in the Japanese version. And the only chameleon here that has a special sort of function is white. Now, white, and we are going to select white so I can show it off. You'll notice there is a star on the bottom right corner of my screen down there. And what that does is if we take damage, it'll go away. And if you beat the game without taking damage, you'll get something called the perfect code. And here's something kind of mysterious for everybody to mull on. Nobody knows what it does. Nobody. There's no stuff online and magazines anywhere that say what the perfect code does. And every time you get the perfect code is different. Nobody has any idea what it does or what it's supposed to do. Our best guess is that it's just for bragging rights because it stays on your title screen. But we really don't know. Nobody knows. It's been an ongoing mystery for like 25 plus years.
How did it get the title of the perfect code? Does the game tell you that name?
The game tells you that. It says perfect code above it. But it actually spells it wrong the first time it gives it to you, and it calls it the perfect chord, which is nobody has any idea what it does. The community even interviewed the lead dev, and the lead dev was like, I don't remember. It might have been a competition or something. Like he didn't even know. Like we have no idea. Like
this sounds like perfect ARG material. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it really does. Like who knows? We sure don't. So anyway, coming back into the Japanese version here. So again, we are on the Japanese version of the practice ROM, and most categories are ran on this version. It's genuinely faster for just about everything other than 100%. Because there's a few specific crowns that are very tedious and weird in this version of the game. But what we're going to show off now, hopefully, is what's in this door. Now, this door is actually not even in the US version.
Oh.
What's in here? Yeah, and what's in here? Come on, camera. What are you doing? Why isn't my camera turning? What is happening? There it goes. Okay. So,
weird.
Yeah, what's in here is an optional sort of boss fight with the Black Chameleon. And completely exclusive to this version. Unfortunately, we got to try to clip in. Actually, you know what I just realized? We don't actually have to clip in because we are on the practice ROM, meaning we can just warp in. We're just gonna do that.
Just head on in there. Cool.
Yeah, we can just go right on in. If I can remember how to open.
Okay.
The menu. There it is. Okay. So now we can just go boop, boop, boop. We'll just go right here.
What?
Oh, it crashed. Well, that's
fun. Oh, no.
That's fun. Dare I say, that's also a that's never happened before moment.
Another that's never happened. Debug menu. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to tangent for a second. Because I reloaded a file to get us back into it. And we're here.
Okay, so now we're actually in the fight, right?
This is a completely different fight. But this is a good place to be. This is a good place to be. Hold on. Let me cook. So this is Cake Tank. Cake Tank is exactly what it sounds like. It's a big cake that tries to shoot strawberry bombs at you. It's being driven by 4 little like ice cream sandwiches. Neat. Weird stuff, right? There's a fun glitch. There's a fun glitch you can do. I found this way back in 2015. We call the training room glitch. And what it is you go into training room and you exit. That's it. And then you reload your file if you're saved in a boss room. And what this does, I'm going to hit a save state now. What this does is it bypasses the cutscene playing that introduces the boss. And it allows us to just run straight in and just like fight it. Which is pretty crazy, all things considered. Normally this boss is like a big cyclical thing where you have to like eat a bunch of like little dudes on the inside of it. He'll do this whole song and dance. I'll show you here. shoots the strawberries. Then he opens, and you eat a dude. But you have to do that 4 times. Except with this particular trick, which we call 4 kids, if I can hit it. Keep screwing it up. A little rusty. This particular trick allows us to essentially just do that. There we go. And just quick kill the boss, and the fight is just over.
Whoa, that's cool.
But we're not done with this boss yet. This boss has one other weird thing to offer. That's of particular note. Now, the way the game intends you to fight this boss is, it'll spin around, do its whole thing, open up, and then you jump and go boop, and you eat a little chocolate dude, right?
Right.
But there's something really strange you can do. Let me hit a save state here. Hopefully this works. We'll see. There it is. So I ate the last kid, but you'll notice the cake isn't dying.
What?
And the cake is now just in a completely invincible state where it has no enemies anymore, and it's just gonna spin and shoot at us forever. We can never win. It's unbeatable now. Yes.
Like another not quite a soft lock, but like a
Yeah, we call this ghost cake.
Ghost cake.
And the way it works is instead of jumping and grabbing the enemy with B, you just vault backwards into it to grab it. And yeah, that's ghost cake. So that's fascinating. Moving on though, let's go back to that black chameleon boss fight I mentioned here. Now let's see if I can actually remember how to use these dang menus.
Okay.
This took me a bit last time. I'm not the best with there it is. Cool.
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm not the best with like left-right things in my brain, and like to open that particular warp menu, you like have to like press left and right and stuff. And it's where have I ended up? Where is the black fight? Here it is. Okay. So yeah, here's what I actually initially wanted to show, and what it is it is a optional sort of boss fight with a black chameleon. Now, this is exclusive to the JP version. You will not be able to do this in the US version at all. Not only is this chameleon not in the game in the US version at all, but this room isn't even here. It doesn't even exist, and it just gives you a crown. So that's an example of one of the particular things in this version of the game that just makes it much longer than the US version.
The US version.
At least. Yes.
Oh, sure.
Now, the next thing I'm going to try to show you, we'll see what happens. Normally, we manipulate the RNG to show this off. So we'll see what we'll see what I get here. You'll notice I'll come onto this bridge plank, and it's just going to fall. Oh, I'm going to get good RNG. That's okay. So you'll notice it just fell, right? Well, there's this thing that can happen in the game where if you go into a vault state, which is this, and you're on a platform that is falling, the game essentially can't figure out where you're standing.
Okay.
And the way the game deals with this... Oh, no, now I'm not getting good RNG, of course. Yeah, there we go. The way the game deals with that is it just teleports you to like the 0.0 coordinate of the room. It's like, oh, we can't find you. That must mean that you're here. So we use that to go a little faster there. And you have to manipulate the RNG to make the planks fall a specific way, but it's still pretty cool. Moving on to some more arcane kind of stuff here. We got a few door clips coming up, which are probably the name of this game in terms of speedrunning. If I had to... Oh, that was lovely. If I had to pick one. Basically... I wonder if I can hit this. That's fun. Basically, with these door clips, we do 2 different vaults. One vault to set up the proper angle, and the next vault to actually push us through. And the way they work, and if you watch a speedrun of this game, even the SGDQ speedrun, You'll see these a lot. And the way they work is essentially we're just kind of ricocheting off of this little corner, not corner, but like the door frame itself. We're hitting against it, and the game is essentially launching us backwards through the door. So yeah. And there's a ton of those throughout the run. They're all frame perfect, which is lovely.
Annoying, yeah. But
it's annoying, but it's cool. Even this one here, also frame perfect, but it requires a slightly different timing than the other door we just did. There it is. And
oh, nice. Okay.
Here's the third, second boss. It doesn't really matter in this game. This is the bomb centipede. Now, for years, we had a very specific way of fighting this boss, where we would grab a bunch of bombs and go boo-doo-doo and just win like that. Seems really short, right? Like the fight's already over. It's like, dang.
Yeah.
Then somehow. We found an even faster way to do it recently, which is just like, what? Makes no sense. Yeah, I have no idea. This game has went through it's really the practice ROM more than anything. Being able to make a save state right before a boss and just drill it over and over and look for different things. It's really helped the game develop considerably.
Really
over the last
helped.
few years, yeah, for sure.
Moving
on to what most people consider, and actually no, I would say everybody, top level speedrunners included, consider the hardest level in the game. This is Kids Land. Now I got a few things here to show off.
Okay.
So Kids Land is like ice cream and whatever thing. This is the level that the cake is the boss in. That we already showed off. But what we're gonna do here is, you'll notice here there's like these big wafer-looking things, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go boom, 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 and shoot it until it falls back in the corner here. I'm gonna take damage right as it resets its position.
Oh.
Give it a third bounce. There we go. And that launches us inside of it. Now, if you do this, with one of these ones on the edge, and the game doesn't have anywhere to put you, so not the middle one, but like one of these other ones.
Okay.
Come on. It just launches you out of bounds.
Whoa!
And the game is just like, well, where are you at? I don't know. Just whatever. Just reload it. Reload it. The game just panics, basically. So, going through Kids Land here, you mentioned wanting to know a little bit more about how the door clips here work. The door clips here are tricky. They're the hardest ones in the game because they require not only frame-perfect timing, but very, very specific positioning, and even a very specific camera angle. The camera angle technically isn't required if you want to get really real, but it greatly makes it easier because you can use sort of normalized positions. Just to share a little piece of completely useless tech coming into this room here. So as soon as I come in, I'm going to make a save state going in. As soon as I come into this room, you'll see these two guys hop up next to me. Just to show it again, you'll watch them. They'll go boing, and then they land, right? So the object of this room is to kill all these enemies. We can go pew, pew, we can shoot them or whatever. Or you can just hold upright and B and just shoot both of them immediately with what we like to call shot buffer. Yeah, and they're just gone.
That was so fast.
Yeah, they're just dead. And it saves considerable time. This room here is complete RNG. You can clip past this door, but I'm going to show off the Kids Land door clip in a different room. It's a little more research, for lack of a better term. Not more research. That's maybe the wrong way to phrase it.
Do we say something bowling glitch?
We're not going into bowling glitch. That's too much.
Okay. We're not doing bowling.
I will show off bowling though for a moment. I'll at least show what bowling is.
All right.
Exclusive to this version of the game. It is at least fascinating. So, this is the first room that we ever started trying to clip through the door in Kids Land in. And that didn't really start to become a thing until maybe a year or two ago at most. And basically the way it works is if you get a very specific camera angle, and again, you don't necessarily need this camera angle. You can technically do it with whatever camera angle you really want. but it changes the direction you need to hold. And with this camera angle, we can just hold straight down, which is obviously, you know, ideal. And you just have the correct timing for doing the vault. Basically, you have to walk directly into the corner, have the correct angle, adjust yourself slightly to the right. That was slightly too far. That should be good. And then just vault at the correct time, and we should hit it. But this trick is, I can't stress enough, very difficult. So you'll notice there, it's like I clipped, but I didn't clip. What that means is I was just slightly too far right. It's seriously that precise. And right there, again, slightly too far right.
So close.
Very tricky.
Man, but being able to find this kind of stuff with how precise it actually is pretty wild.
Yeah, it was me and a runner named Custom that found this particular clip.
Oh, there.
Back in like 2021. No, more like 2022. I want to say. I figured out you could go through it. Then Custom actually landed it, and then we all collectively spent like 2 weeks figuring out a way to actually do it somewhat consistently. So moving on to some interesting. Notice that. Moving on to some pretty wild stuff. We're gonna go into the final level here. Now this is Ghost Castle. Ghost Castle is kind of a nothing burger of a level. If I'm being real, you can go multiple ways. Now, in 100%, completely different story. It has billiards. That immediately elevates it to, like, being one of the worst levels in the game. 100%.
Okay, sure.
But, at 80%, very, very, very simple stuff. Kind of a point A, point B. But there's a lot of weird things we can do in this level. In particular, with the final boss. Now, which speaking of, what am I doing? I can just like do the debug menu too. Oh, but you know what? This is good timing anyway. We'll show off bowling.
Oh, okay. I was like, are we switching gears? Okay.
Yeah, we'll just. I forgot about bowling. Show it off. I wasn't going to show off bowling at all, but I can see there's bowling enjoyers in chat. So we might as well at least go look at it for a second, so they can be like, "Oh, there's the thing."
Nice. Okay, I'm ready.
If we can get in, we'll find out. He's probably gonna tell me no. You're gonna tell me no, aren't you? So I'm gonna have to do it anyway. Lovely. Cool. Okay. Bowling. Which one's bowling?
Where are we going?
There it is. Here's bowling. Okay. So, yeah, we can just warp wherever we want. It's practice.
That's cool.
Right. So, this is bowling. Basically, you get a crown for beating it. You got to get 300 points. Not 300. Gosh. No, it's 200. It's 200. It's 200. Okay. You got to get 200, which is still not very reasonable. And it's very jank and doesn't work very well, as you'll find out. I'll probably get a strike first try for just saying that, and of course I do. That's how it works. I promise it's not easy. It's not a lot of fun to play. But yeah, bowling. That's bowling. There's a glitch you can do in here where if you finish, and I'm not showing this one off because it's very complex. It could take like 30 or 40 minutes to set it up for me. But basically, if you finish bowling at the same time as exiting the loading zone, the scorecard gets stuck on the screen, and the game still thinks you're in bowling even when you're not in bowling. So like the bowling pins and the bowling ball like follow you from room to room, and it gets really weird. Like the bowling pins are just like stuck in this door over here in this particular room. Yeah, eventually it just ends up crashing the game if you like mess around too much with it too. It's fun. But yeah, bowling.
Okay.
Exclusive
now we know.
to the JP version. So what we're going to do now is, apparently I'm going to make a save state, and then we're going to go here to this room here. Now this is the last room of the game, not this room here, but the room through this door. And there's a trick in here called Cuss Vault. And this is a very integral trick for top level Chameleon Twist speedrunning, I would say. Now, this room here, being the last room in the game, you can see as I'm going through it here, kind of scary. You know, not super scary, but like, you know, the final boss is right after this, and there's these little thin platforms, and you know, it's makes it for a very nerve-wracking last room in a speedrun.
Right.
Well, the way we used to do it was by spinning on the poles and actually landing on these little areas. And that's how we did it for years. I can't even do it anymore. We haven't done this in probably 5 years at this point.
Okay.
The way we do it now is like that. We land on that pole below us with just enough momentum, which is not the easiest thing to do. And we catch a vault with momentum, and it clips us up through to the top, which not easy to do. It's a very difficult thing to put right at the end of a speedrun, because this door here, this is the final boss. This is the end of the game.
Gosh.
And all of a sudden you have to land on this tiny little sliver of nothing, you know, and it's just like, oh, it's just awful. So anyway, let's go into the final boss. I got a couple of very weird things to show off here. Something I don't know that's ever really been talked about outside of the Chameleon Twist community, like ever.
Okay.
So this boss is, I think the canonical name for it is Ghost Robo. We call it, as a community, because of an old game FAQs guide, we call it Pile of Books. Now, Pile of Books has two phases. Phase 1, very simple, is shoots his arms out, you crack the little balls on his arms. Phase 2, he's gonna drive around like a maniac and do a bunch of RNG nonsense. Hopefully we get lucky with a good pattern. Honestly, that's pretty good. We can work with that. We'll just reload the save state. Why did he go somewhere different? It's a save state.
Oh,
My
weird.
guy's not consistent. So you'll notice when I beat him here, the game is giving us a cutscene, right? And it's gonna, you know, it shows him dying, and then it shows us standing in the boss arena here, and we're gonna run across this bridge into this room like we're escaping. You know, the whole place is collapsing or what have you. Into this hallway. This whole cutscene section is completely exclusive to the JP version. And what I'm going to show you now is something very wild. When I first found this years ago, I was like, the implications drove me nuts because I thought I could find a way to skip the final boss, but not quite.
Okay.
Anyway, we're gonna set up that same training room glitch before that disables the boss cutscene, right?
Okay.
We're gonna go in there. And then we're gonna load the file. And we're going to go backwards through the boss door. Now, you'd think that would take us back to the room where we vaulted off the little pole and stuff, right? But no. We're in the hallway from the end cutscene. And we can just move around in it. We can just move around in it freely. We're just here. Yeah. Unfortunately, the cutscene doesn't activate. Yeah. But we're here. But it gets weirder. It gets even weirder. This door here, it's like, wait, there's a door at the other end of the hallway. Where does that lead? Because normally, you leave the boss arena and come through this side in the cutscene, and you run to the side we just came through. So it's like where even are we anyway, right? So we go through this door, and then we're falling, and then it's like, wait, we're back in the boss arena.
What?
Except there's something missing.
A boss?
The boss just isn't here. And what we suspect this is the little cutscene where it actually shows the boss dying. We think that what the game does is it warps you to this room to activate that scene. And this is just the room that is used for that. And it turns out you can just walk here. And keep in mind, yes, I'm on the practice ROM, but you can do this on an actual cart. Like, super easily. It's very easy to do. To just come here and mess around in just this empty arena with ominous boss music playing. For no apparent reason. Good stuff. So, yeah, we're not just going out of bounds. We're going like, we're out of the game at this point. We're not even in the same universe as the game at this point. So the next, and I suppose final thing I would like to show off in this game is something very, very, very stupid. Very stupid that we discovered as a community. So Kids Land is, and we're in Ghost Castle, but Kids Land is a very broken stage. as a whole. So broken, in fact, that if you go to a specific room in another level and then try to go to Kids Land, the game just crashes.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's only if you are in a specific room in other levels before trying to go to Kids Land. We don't know why this happens fully. We're not really sure. We think it has something to do with specific actors or textures in Kids Land, just not able to load if the game's previous slot in those memory is this other specific textures, but unclear. I guess I'll reset and just go to something that at least looks fascinating to sort of wrap things up here. Okay. I apologize for the blank blue screen. The game crashed, so
Right? No, that's okay. It's okay.
Kind of have to reboot things a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, so let's show off the level intro rooms.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Sure, I can do that. So with Chameleon Twist, there's a lot of speed games out there that started, having any sort of attention or action around like 2010 to 2014 era, hit or miss. Even games that are super popular that you would expect there to be many things in before that, like Mario Sunshine, didn't really have anything until like 2009, 2010.
That's true.
What I find unique about Chameleon Twist, and what I really like about this game as a whole, is that... Oh, man. I always forget how to access that stupid menu there. Okay. Whoa, that's some fun-looking stuff. Avert your eyes. Potential epilepsy warning. I don't know what I'm looking at here. So this is the level intro room. This is the level intro room. Basically, there's a little intro cutscene at each level, and for some reason, this one's looking a little funky. We're gonna get out of here. I'm scared. Anyway, anyway, this game has speedrun history dating all the way back to 2004 on video. Okay, which is like, that's insane. Like, you think about a game this obscure, and like that's just not a thing, It's pretty crazy. Oh, here's the level intro room. Oh, this is great. Here's the level intro room for Bombland, but you'll notice there's another Chameleon standing over there. And the reason for that, is we teleported to the black optional boss fight room first. And if you do that, he just sort of stays on screen for some reason. You can't even interact with him. Like, he's just there now. Yeah, he just exists, which is that's fun.
That's so weird.
Yeah, there's that level. And you know what? We didn't show off at all. We didn't show off anything in Desert Castle. So let's clown around here for at least a second, shall we? Yeah, I got a few moments here.
Yeah, for sure. What's that? Oh, right, you're warping around. Yeah, I keep wondering what's happening.
Yeah, okay. I'm just warping around through the level. You'll notice how the numbers going down over there. It's just Desert Castle's unique compared to other levels. In that most levels you go kind of from room to room to room, and the warp points in other levels are room to room to room. Desert Castle is all outdoors, so it's more like zone to zone to zone. So, certain things look kind of strange. Sometimes it has no idea where to actually put you, which is funny. Okay, so this here is the sand slide. And when you jump on, let me make a save state. When you jump onto the sand slide, it locks your jumps, but not your movement, so we're stuck. We're gonna end up down this slide wherever it spits us from this point. Okay?
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah. It's not too terrible though. I mean, it's whatever. It's not the worst.
Okay.
But we discovered a little while back, I don't remember exactly when, that if you jump frame perfectly, you can jump and just continue to keep going over. And it was like 6 months ago. We had somebody that jumped down the entire thing without save states, because of course somebody did that, and it saves no time. It loses time, in fact, which is
the jumping.
Yeah, but
it's cool.
Just a neat little thing you can do. To actually answer a question I see in chat, I have like 26-ish, 7-ish guitars.
Holy moly!
If you don't count basses. I've got like 15 trombones, a few trumpets, some ocarinas, some harmonicas.
So you like music?
Yes, I was a professional touring musician for like 11 years.
That's so cool.
I did Broadway music, like theater stuff.
We're learning more about the game and
random Kefka lore, but yeah.
Kefka lore. That's super cool.
But yeah, and that's really I wouldn't say that's everything that Chameleon Twist has in it in terms of glitches. There's like, there's so much more, but it's all little weird things though. It's just so many tiny like. Okay, here I got one more. It's pretty interesting. Just
I was gonna say there's like a lot
actually
that stuff in the run, but then there's also like just so many little things that just exist.
Well, this game has, unlike Doraemon 2, which Doraemon 2 had quite a bit in it, this game has a ton of research on it.
Yeah.
The community has grown so much over the years, and it's just insane. So this room here, the object is to gather these flames and shoot these candles, and it creates platforms that you can jump on. And the positions for the platforms are random, and it's terrible, and it's an awful part of the speedrun. Yeah. Much like the room earlier where I teleported off of the bridge, this room, if you are on one of these platforms when it is vanishing, boop, it just blips you to the 0 coordinate in the room, and you just fall straight down. which is like whoa.
Is there an application where you can use that to like warp ahead?
You can in bomb land with the bridges, and it saves, I think, a grand total. It's like, do this crazy trick that requires you to manipulate the RNG, and let's save 0.8 seconds. But that's really it. That's it. This game is full of, like, a lot of tiny things. Also, I noticed Cyanide Gunner said show off 0%. I can't remember how to do 0% fully.
Oh, no.
I tried to yesterday. Basically, it's this glitch you can do in Training Room where you delete the chameleon from the game.
You delete?
Yeah, you delete them from the game.
Oh my gosh. It doesn't crash the game? Like, then what?
It does crash. It does crash the game, yes.
Oh, okay. I was like, what do you mean?
Or soft locks, at least.
Okay.
But, yeah. That's Chameleon Twist, though. Let me take a look at my notes, see if there's anything specific I'm missing.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that.
We have one more thing?
We do have one more thing, and it's weird.
Let's go.
Unfortunately, what this means, we have to sit on the title screen for just a second for me to explain the concept of this.
Yeah?
So, on the title screen, you hear a little jingle play, the jingle will stop, and then the game will just sort of like freeze for a moment here, It's like, oh, are you going to play the game? And it does what every other game does from this era, and it gives you a gameplay demo. I'm not controlling the character here. It just, it's like, here's an example of the game being played, right? Okay.
Yeah, we saw this on the opening, sure.
Yep. So, of course, I'm saved at the boss. Why wouldn't I be saved at a boss? So if you just like fidget around with the camera a bunch, then you exit and let a demo play, the game remembers what you were doing with the camera to a degree. Hopefully it does. We'll see. And the demo can't play correctly because it's just like pre-recorded inputs, right?
Sure.
Oh, no, this one actually is playing correctly. I wonder why. Oh, wait, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's slightly off. It may not look like it, but it is. It's very slightly off. Huh. Fascinating. You can get some really weird effects, though, by storing the camera. And you can even make it to where, like, the chameleon just continually falls off in the demo repeatedly. and like, there's some... That is right, Cyanide. It only works in the US version. There's so much.
Oh.
There's like 4 different documents that we have, and just like thousands of videos of just different random little things you can do in this game, and it's ridiculous. And to just show off one teensy tiny little thing, and then I got a split. Let's see, where is it?
Oh, right, that's right.
Here it is. So this is a special ROM hack that was made of the game.
Oh.
Chameleon Bingo. And it's Chameleon Twist Bingo, but in a ROM. We have programmed in a special palette swap for Davey that we call Spike. So we're going to play as Spike because that's hype. And yeah, and what this version of the game does is when you pause, you'll notice there's a counter for crowns and hearts on the left side of the screen. Ooh. So it keeps track of the hearts you've collected and, you know, the different colors and how many. And it also keeps track of your total crown count, which normally can't be done in the base game. So we can create, you know, bingo goals for like bingo. So it's like, you know, you get 1 crown and it, you know, it increases the count there. So we can have goals that are like collect 28 crowns across the whole game or collect 4 orange hearts or this and that. And yeah, I guess my point for showing this here off in particular, because this isn't a glitch, this is out of bounds in a different way. This is out of bounds in terms of like, you're really on the fringes of gaming when you're looking at something like this on your screen. Like, yeah. Like, this is, like, deep in the lore of 64 games at this point. Like,
yeah, but it's still really cool that, like, you have a bingo made for this. I love that.
Dude, right? It's fantastic. I can't recommend the Chameleon Twist community enough as in general. Both games even, Chameleon Twist 1 and 2, have practice ROMs. And we're pretty close to getting, you know, having the ability to make some actual, like, ROM hacks that change the game itself. Shout outs to the whole decomp team for both games, by the way. The games are being getting decompiled as we speak. And it's just really cool to see how far this community has come because, like I said, I started running the game in 2012 and I've had every record in the game multiple times over the years. And just seeing how far it's come with the skill level that players are playing at now, it's absolutely mind-boggling. I don't even understand it. And I will also say they are genuinely the nicest speedrunning community around. Anytime anyone joins our community, they always say that about us. Always.
Oh, I love that.
They're just a very wholesome group of individuals. And I can't recommend it enough. If you are interested in these games, join Twistcord. The link is right on, you know, speedrun.com on the leaderboard. Just join Twistcord and play the games, man. Like, we love having a good time. We can play some bingo. Like, it's just a good time. It's a very wonderful community. But yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, well, awesome. Thank you so much for showing up, Chameleon Twist. This was really fun. It is a very colorful game as well. I love hearing about a great community. And so you all should be encouraged if you're interested in this type of game or maybe picking up a speedrun, like, join. You can always ask questions. Communities, again, like, speedrun communities just tend to love going through the wall. And I just, like, love people coming in and exploring or trying things out. And aside from that, Kefka, I also want you to take this time to do your own plugs. Tell us where we can find you, what you're doing, just like what's going on.
Okay, well, I've been, like I said, I've been speedrunning a long time. You can follow me over on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Kefka14. You can find me at the same place on YouTube, where I just usually upload PBs and stuff. I got a few other things on there, some music and such. But it's mostly PBs and, you know, old world records and current ones. I speedrun a ton of obscure games over the years, ton of different ones. Mostly 64, but I branched out some. Lately, I've been speedrunning The Adventures of Cookie and Cream. Actually co-op with another runner friend of mine by the name of 7th Armstrong. But yeah, if anybody ever wants to hit me up about any of the games I run, and I can't stress that enough, please do. I would love to just sit and talk about them like all day long. It's my favorite thing to do, you know, just talking about weird, obscure glitches and games and weird stuff. You know, it's great. It's my favorite thing. But I can't recommend. And actually, just to circle back to Doraemon 2 from earlier, I'd like to plug that community one more time. They're fantastic. Absolutely. It's a much smaller community than Chameleon Twist, but they're all equally just amazing people. And that community is it's very, very loving, very welcoming. And I can't recommend those guys enough either. The Doraemon 64 community, lovely. Wonderful folks.
That's great.
Wonderful folks.
So yeah, go check them out. You have 2 communities here. You can always try things out. Try a speedrun. Go say hi. Please also go follow Kefka. Say hello. Cheer him on during speedruns. All of that. This has been great. Thank you so much for coming on once again. You're awesome. Yeah. And as we wrap up here, I also want to let you all know about things coming up with GDQ. So first of all, If you missed out again on Awfully Silly that was earlier tonight, or you're just tuning in late, or maybe you missed Doraemon and you want to see, you can stay tuned after this. We'll be replaying both shows right after the break. So that'll be really cool. Also, we have some fun things coming up. Like, for example, and I'm specifically excited about our upcoming Flame Fatales 2024. It's going to be great. We are once again benefiting Malala Fund. Exclamation FF in the chat if you want to learn more. Super exciting. That is August 18th to the 25th. I could talk about it a lot, but I won't. It's going to be great. And I love our theme this year. You should check that out too. We also have PAX West we will be at, which is from August 30th to September 2nd. So that's just a little bit after that. So the schedule's out now. You can go check out the schedule. And we will be back for GDQ Express at TwitchCon. And that's September 20th to the 22nd. So a bunch of things coming up in like the next 2 months. And all of our info is in commands or on our website, etc. So get excited for those. And then tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, is RNG and Time Capsule, 2 of our other really wonderful shows. So thank you once again to Kefka for coming back on the show. Really appreciate it. These are super cool. I love not only seeing like the big games that everybody knows and being like, let's learn about those glitches, but also seeing like more of these niche games, these categories, and like getting to know these communities. You all are great. Thank you all for being in the chat, watching along and contributing too. So you all are awesome. Thank you so much again. And enjoy all the replays, and we'll see you for the next one. Good night, everyone.